The note that changed everything wasn't supposed to exist. Hospital security cameras would later show it falling from a patient's chart at exactly 11:47 p.m. What they couldn't capture was the moment Emily Carter's world shattered when she read those 7 words, "Don't trust anyone. My life depends on you." By morning, that patient would be dead. But his final wish? It would expose a conspiracy so dark, so twisted, that it would make international headlines and change Emily's life forever. This is that story. Emily Carter wasn't your typical 21-year-old. While her friends were posting party photos on Instagram, she was saving lives at Riverbend General Hospital. 6 months into her nursing career, she thought she'd seen it all. The smell of antiseptic had become her perfume, the sound of heart monitors her lullaby. But nothing prepared her for what she'd discover in room 14. Daniel Reed was supposed to be dying. The 26-year-old patient had been admitted 3 weeks ago with severe heart complications, yet something felt fundamentally wrong. His dark eyes held too much intelligence for someone on death's door. He watched everything, every nurse, every doctor, every visitor who passed his room. When Emily entered to check his vitals, she felt those eyes studying her like she was a puzzle he desperately needed to solve. "You're different from the others," Daniel whispered during one midnight check, his voice barely audible over the rhythmic beeping of machines. Emily's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted his fore. "What do you mean? You actually care?" That conversation haunted her for days. There was something in Daniel's tone, not the resignation of a dying man, but the urgency of someone running out of time for reasons beyond illness. The note fell on a Thursday night when the hospital corridors echoed with that peculiar silence found only in medical facilities after visiting hours. Emily had been reviewing charts when a folded piece of paper slipped from Daniel's file like a secret demanding to be told. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she read the message again. "Don't trust anyone. My life depends on you. Meet me at midnight." Daniel. Wait, what? How had this gotten into his official medical records? At 11:58 p.m., Emily found herself standing outside room 14, every instinct screaming at her to walk away. The moonlight streaming through the blinds painted zebra stripes across Daniel's face, making his features look otherworldly. Even in a faded hospital gown, he possessed an intensity that made her breath catch. "You came," he said, relief flooding his voice. "I shouldn't be here. But you are. That makes you either very brave or very foolish." Daniel struggled to sit up, wincing. "Emily, I'm not dying of heart disease." The words hung in the air like smoke. Emily felt the ground beneath her understanding begin to shift. "I'm being poisoned." There it was, the pattern break that shattered everything she thought she knew about Riverbend General Hospital. Daniel rolled up his sleeve, revealing his arm. Among the legitimate 4 punctures were other marks, subtle, professional, but different. Emily had administered thousands of injections. These weren't from standard medical procedures. "Someone's been giving me something that's not on my chart," Daniel continued. "Something that's slowly killing me while making it look like natural cardiac failure." Emily's medical training kicked in, analyzing what she was seeing. The injection sites were strategically placed to avoid suspicion, the timing coordinated with shift changes. This wasn't random, this was systematic. "Why would someone want to kill you?" Daniel's laugh was bitter. "Because I discovered what this place really is." Over the next 30 minutes, Daniel unraveled a conspiracy that made Emily's blood run cold. Riverbend General wasn't just a hospital, it was a testing ground. Pharmacorp International, a pharmaceutical giant, had been conducting illegal drug trials on patients for years. The victims were chosen carefully: people without extensive family networks, immigrants, the elderly, anyone whose death wouldn't generate too much scrutiny. "The staff involved get paid handsomely for their silence," Daniel explained. Those who discover the truth, they become patients themselves. How do you know all this? Because I used to work for PharmaCorp. I was a researcher until I found out what they were really doing with the data I was providing. Daniel's voice dropped to a whisper. They killed my research partner when she threatened to go public. Made it look like a car accident. Emily felt like Alice tumbling down a rabbit hole, reality reshaping itself around her. Why didn't you go to the police? Tried. Half the force is on PharmaCorp's payroll. The other half wouldn't believe me without proof. Daniel reached under his mattress, producing a small brass key. This opens a safety deposit box at Maple Street Bank. Inside is everything: documents, recordings, photographs. Evidence that could bring down the entire operation. Emily stared at the key like it was a loaded weapon. Taking it would make her complicit in whatever game Daniel was playing. But looking into his eyes, she saw something that made her decision: absolute truth. There's something else, Daniel said, his voice breaking slightly. They have my sister. What? Rachel Reed. They took her to ensure my cooperation. If I stayed quiet and let them kill me slowly, they promised she'd live. Daniel's hands shook. But I can't die knowing she'll disappear the moment I'm gone. The name hit Emily like lightning. Rachel Reed. She pulled out her phone, scrolling to a photo she'd kept for years, a family reunion from her childhood. There, smiling beside a younger Emily, was her cousin Rachel. Oh my God, Emily whispered. Rachel's my cousin. She went missing 6 months ago. The police said she'd probably run away, but the family never believed it. The room spun around them. What were the odds? But then Emily realized this wasn't coincidence. This was why Daniel had trusted her. Somehow he'd known. How did you? I've been watching you for weeks, Emily. Researching every staff member, looking for someone I could trust. When I saw your social media photos with Rachel, I knew you were my only hope. A sound in the hallway made them both freeze. Footsteps approached, measured, purposeful. Emily quickly pocketed the key as a figure appeared in the doorway. Dr. Martinex stood silhouetted against the corridor light, a syringe in his hand. He wasn't scheduled for night rounds. Emily had never seen him on the ward after 8 p.m. Miss Carter, Dr. Martinex said smoothly. I wasn't expecting to find anyone here. Just doing my rounds, Emily managed, her voice surprisingly steady. Dr. Martinex stepped into the room, and Emily noticed the syringe contained a clear liquid that wasn't labeled. Standard protocol required all medications to be properly marked. Mr. Reed has been experiencing some discomfort, Dr. Martinex said. I'm here to administer pain medication. Daniel's eyes met Emily's in a moment of silent communication. They both knew this wasn't pain medication. Actually, Emily said, stepping between Dr. Martinex and Daniel's bed, I just gave him his prescribed pain relief 30 minutes ago. His chart shows he's not due for another dose until 6 a.m. Dr. Martinex's smile never wavered, but something cold flickered in his eyes. I'm sure you're mistaken, Miss Carter. Perhaps you should return to your other duties. Emily felt the weight of the key in her pocket. Every fiber of her being screamed danger, but she thought of Rachel, her cousin, missing for 6 months, depending on Emily's courage in this moment. I'd be happy to double-check the chart with you, Emily said, moving toward the nurse's station. Patient safety protocols require verification of all medications, especially during night shifts. Dr. Martinex hesitated. In that pause, Emily saw everything Daniel had told her confirmed. This man wasn't here to heal, he was here to kill. That won't be necessary, Dr. Martinex said finally. I'll return later when Mr. Reed's schedule permits. As soon as Dr. Martinex left, Daniel grabbed Emily's wrist. They know I talked to you. You have to get that evidence tonight. What about you? I'm dead either way. But Rachel, She has a chance if you can expose them. Emily felt tears burning her eyes. There has to be another way. Sometimes heroes don't get happy endings, Daniel said softly. But the people they save do. That has to be enough. Emily wanted to argue, to find some magical solution that saved everyone. But the clock was ticking, and she could hear Dr. Martinez talking to someone in low, urgent tones down the hallway. "Promise me something," Daniel said. "Anything. When this is over, visit Rachel for me. Tell her I never stopped trying to come home. Tell her that everything I did was to protect her, and that I'm sorry it took so long." Emily nodded, unable to speak around the lump in her throat. "And Emily? When people ask what happened here, don't let them turn me into a victim. I chose this fight. I chose to trust you. That makes me a soldier, not a casualty." Emily squeezed his hand once, memorizing the warmth of his fingers, then slipped out of room 14 for the last time. The drive to Maple Street Bank felt like a journey through a dream. Emily's hands shook as she signed the visitor log at 3 a.m., using the emergency access Daniel had arranged. The safety deposit box contained everything he'd promised: USB drives full of recordings, photographs of secret meetings, internal PharmaCorp documents detailing illegal trials spanning 5 years. But there was something else: a letter addressed to Rachel, written in Daniel's careful handwriting. Emily's tears fell onto the paper as she read his final words to his sister, words of love and apology and hope for her future. When Emily returned to the hospital at dawn, room 14 was empty. The staff claimed Daniel had been transferred to a specialized cardiac unit in another city. The paperwork looked official, the signatures legitimate. But Emily knew better. Daniel Reed was dead. The FBI raid on Riverbend General Hospital 3 days later made national news. The evidence Emily provided led to arrests spanning 3 states. PharmaCorp executives were charged with conspiracy, murder, and human trafficking. The hospital's secret wing was shut down permanently. Most importantly, Rachel was found alive in a PharmaCorp facility in Nevada, along with 12 other victims. The reunion with her family was tearful, joyful, and bittersweet. Emily kept her promise, delivering Daniel's letter and sharing his final message. 6 months later, Emily stood in Greenwood Cemetery, fresh flowers in her hand. Daniel's gravestone was simple: Daniel Reed, beloved brother, courageous soul. "I kept my promise," she whispered to the granite marker. "Rachel's doing well. She's back in school, studying journalism. She says she wants to tell stories that matter, like you did." The wind rustled through the oak trees above, and for a moment, Emily could swear she heard Daniel's voice. "Sometimes heroes don't get happy endings, but the people they save do." Emily wiped away her tears and smiled. "You were wrong about one thing, Daniel. Heroes do get happy endings. They just look different than we expect. Your ending isn't here in this cemetery. It's in every life you saved, every truth you exposed, every person who's safer because of your courage." She placed the flowers on his grave and walked away, carrying his memory forward into a world made brighter by his sacrifice. The story of Daniel Reed and Emily Carter became a testament to the power of ordinary people choosing extraordinary courage. In a world full of corruption and conspiracy, they proved that sometimes all it takes is one person willing to trust, one person willing to act, and the unshakable belief that truth is stronger than fear. Their story reminds us that heroes aren't born. They're made in moments when everything is at stake and someone chooses to stand up anyway. Daniel chose to trust Emily with his life and his sister's freedom. Emily chose to honor that trust, even when it put her own life at risk. In the end, love and truth really were stronger than fear. What did you think of Emily and Daniel's incredible story? Have you ever been in a situation where you had to choose between safety and doing the right thing? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your perspectives on these powerful stories. If this story moved you, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear about the power of courage and sacrifice. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible true stories that will challenge how you see the world. Remember, sometimes the most ordinary people are capable of the most extraordinary things. What extraordinary thing will you do today?